Welcome to Karibu Anawim's program, 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk, where we explore topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. This program is for you, your loved ones, for educational purposes and professionals who would like to know more about living with facial disfigurement. Our presenters have lived experience, research background, or work with people living with facial disfigurement. It's important to begin the conversation with terminology that society understands and is clear. We use the word disfigurement as it is the medical and legal terminology. We recognise you may identify with other words such as visible difference or with your own diagnosis. Let's see where the conversation goes. So pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk.
Hi guys, what a morning I have already had. I've had technical difficulties coming out of my ears. I have just had time to grab my cuppa and I need to have a chat. I need to calm down. So I'm going to do some deep breathing, some box breathing. 1, hold, 2, 3, 4, out. 2, hold, 2, 3, 4. That one box breath works well as I'm pouring my cuppa and doing 3 things in my head at the same time. Welcome whether or not you are live. Hi guys that have joined us so far. And today last week we looked at types of self-disclosure, and the week before that we talked about types of non-disclosure. This week we're going to chat about, we're going to recap those types of non-disclosure and disclosure, and then we're going to talk about the pros and cons of either self-disclosing or disclosing, adding a little bit of research and some analogies. Hopefully we can get through this, okay? So without any ado, I will just go over to banners and we'll get cracking. All right, to recap the forms of non-disclosure: secrecy, going out in the world but keeping it a secret or trying to keep a secret. Concealment, efforts to minimize or hide your facial disfigurement or FD. Forced non-disclosure, other people and family friends living with you are urging you not to disclose. So that's when a person living with a facial disfigurement is asked by family members, or oh, now aren't you going to throw a cap on, or aren't you going to throw your sunglasses on, or something like that. That may be a form of, or attempting to be a form of, you not wanting to, or them not wanting you to disclose about your face. There's unauthorized disclosure, where other people living with the person or your friends, for example, might disclose about your face. So that's without your permission. And then there's false non-disclosure, where you give an untrue explanation of about your face. People might rudely ask, "So what happened to your face, love?" in Australian language, in Australian talk, and I might just go, "Oh yeah, I was bitten by a shark." That is a form of false disclosure. Now, the pros and cons of non-disclosure is that it attempts to avoid being stigmatized. Yeah, so that's a pro or a con. I'm not quite sure. A pro. attempting to not be stigmatized with, concealment and avoidance and self-disclosure. Yet these type of non-disclosure activities or non-disclosure, that types of non-disclosure, actually stop us, people living with facial disfigurement, from correcting misunderstandings and actually connecting with others. I know whether or not you choose to self-disclose or choose not to self-disclose, that is a personal choice. And later on, hopefully, I've got an analogy or two that I want to swing by people in how we may or may not want to do that. Let's recap first the three main different types of self-disclosure. Selective disclosure, choosing to disclose to some people and not others. Indiscriminate disclosure, being open to telling everybody about your facial disfigurement and answering questions, and then broadcasting it, actively educating people living about your facial disfigurement. So, what does the research actually say about using self-disclosure? Well, research says from Green, Derlinger and Matthews in 2006, they say that there are several different kinds of features to being able to self-disclose. And hi to the people who have just entered. Welcome. We are talking about forms of disclosure versus non-disclosure and the benefits and benefits or challenges of each. And we're up to what does research say about using disclosure. Now, they've said about 6 things. There's several features. Accessibility, how easy or difficult it is for you to disclose that information. Reward value, whether or not it's going to be a positive reward or a negative. Sora this week, and I've forgotten her last name, I'm sorry, Sora, has actually said, and I quote her, "How will I feel powerful in this moment in time?" I feel like that's a good idea. That's a good thing. Will disclosing make you feel or enable you to feel powerful at that moment in time? Or will using non-disclosure make you feel more powerful in that moment in time? That's the reward system or reward value. Informativeness, how much of your story shall you delve into or not? What level? Are you going to self-disclose everything or are you just going to keep it very succinct? Truthfulness is another feature of disclosing. How true is that disclosure? Because what was it called again? The false non-disclosure or the true disclosure of actually telling your story. The truthfulness of it and the social norms. And this is where we get into where there's an argument for self-disclosing, and then there's the argument of why should we have to? Why should we have to ask? Why should we have to disclose about ourselves? And I get it. Both areas are legit. Both rationales are legit. And the effectiveness, how does the disclosure help us and the listener achieve your goals? Does it build intimacy? Does it build understanding? Does it educate them? I'm not quite sure. But shall we look at the benefits of self-disclosure? And the pros and the cons of self-disclosure is that it's hard work. The cons are that it's hard work sometimes, when you get that stare and you go, oh my gosh, will I disclose or will I not disclose? Can I be bothered? Why me? This is the 15th time today. Yeah, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that disclosure, self-disclosure is always beneficial. However, the benefits of self-disclosure are that people like someone who discloses to them, generally. This is all Green, Delega and Matthews. Again, people like someone to whom they have disclosed, and people disclose more to someone that they may like. I have said that disclosure has said, and lots of other people have said, other research, the likes of Kathleen Bogart and lots of other lived experience people in academia and also different other organisations throughout the world. They might say that self-disclosure is a form of self-empowerment and being able to tell your story in your way. Self-disclosure enables community to be built, building community within the facial disfigured community, building community and also building a community around yourself and fighting public stigma, which is a must, I think. It's a must that we fight the public stigma of, oh my gosh, what do you look like? And the avoidance and the staring and everything else, the lack of the fact that we get, that we are the least likely to be employed, etc. So what I like doing is I like trying to give us some analogies. And self-disclosing is all about building skills and having the skills and wanting to learn different skills and wanting to have some different forms of freedom. And with with self-disclosure comes the very real things of being bullied, being discriminated, the things that we're trying not to be. It can actually not backfire, but have those effects as well. If we are upfront, and most of the time, if we're upfront and tell people our lived experience, people are understanding, but it can lead to, bullying and discrimination and not being heard and valued and that sort of thing as well. So when we open the Pandora's box, or when we open ourselves up, we open ourselves up to being misheard and misunderstood or something like that. But also on the alternative side, we can build community and we can build friendships and we can build intimate relationships. But the analogies that I've already got prepared is these. Okay, it's just an analogy, right? So when we are a baby, we either drink from the breast or the bottle, a baby's bottle. And this, I think, oh no, it's a bit gone. This is a baby's bottle, right? And then when we get better and bigger, we begin to use a spoon. And we can, our mums and dads or our caregivers can use a spoon, or we ourselves as kids can learn how to spoon feed ourselves, however messy, yeah? So this is the transition period stages, yes? We go from this to this, and then when we learn how to, in Western world, where we learn to eat with our knife and fork, we may have special knives and forks that have the areas where we learn how to position our hands in order to cut and eat appropriately. And then we may go on to kids' real knives and forks before we go on to using proper knives and forks. So these are the kind of skill settings. Oh, if I can get them all in my hands, hopefully I can, and in an order, and in the order. These are all different kinds of skill sets and abilities from when we're very young right through to adulthood. And so these are the things that we might do. We might go from not wanting to disclose to learning different types of things on how to disclose. You know, we might choose to then disclose to children only. We might then feel comfortable only to disclosing with children, and that's where we stay. And that's okay to stay there. However, when we get into these, we then are able to, we've got all these skill sets, we've got the skill set of disclosing, but then we might be able to transition to using a sharper knife or a different kind of knife. So we might only want to, disclose to family and friends using the big knives, yeah? I'm just going with this, yeah? However, we may not be interested yet in disclosing to work colleagues. However, we might wish to learn how to self-disclose to work colleagues. So therefore, I don't know why I've called it the sharp knife, but anyway, it could be a sharp knife. And so we can learn to, because we've learned how to eat with this one, we can then we've got transferable skill set to be able to eat with, or be able to articulate in a different manner to our different our work colleagues. Or we might use a spork. We might have the skills, because if we can use a spoon, we can learn how to use a spork or a spade. So these might be out in public, when you're going out in public and you see a person who's staring at you, and you might want to learn how to best self-advocate for yourself in public. So you might want to learn how to use a spork or a spoon. Or your hands, if you're in Africa or any other part of the world. Or this is my only chopsticks, okay? I have not got past chopsticks. I do not know how to use chopsticks. I'm just giving a whole global idea of basically, where we could be at with self-disclosing and, building those skills. I like building the skills of having the fine motor skills of, shoving our bottle in our mouth when we're babies right through. And I'm not saying, believe me, I'm not saying that you're a baby if you're not disclosing. I'm just saying this is an analogy of how we can go about and the projection of how we might go about learning different skill sets. So please remember that it's okay not to be okay. And also remember to take some self-care, to practice some self-care and being kind to yourself this week. And we may very quickly do the pituitary release, the hypothalamus reset, and the pineal support. Are you ready? Because we're doing all three for the month of August. So the pituitary release is 3 fingers in front of your head, like so, and at the back of your head, lifting up, finding the back of your head where the back of your head meets your skull, and the 3 fingers in front are on your middle finger is in the middle of your forehead, and the other 2 fingers are just at the side of your eyebrows in the indentation where your eye orbit is. So if we can just lift and breathe in and hold and breathe out. We'll just do this twice. Ready? Breathe in. Hold and breathe out. Hold and breathe in. Hold and breathe out. Hold. Oh, I can feel it already. I was a bit stressed this morning because of all the other shenanigans that went beforehand, before in the background. So the hypothalamus reset is 2 fingers into the indentations at the side of your head near your eyes and rubbing backwards in a circular motion whilst breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. You ready? And the pineal support, place your palms on the sides of your indentations on your head where you've just done the hypothalamus reset. And breathe in and lift. Ready? Breathe in. And breathe out. Oh, not through your nose, not through your mouth, through your mouth, through your nose. It should have been. Let's do that one again. Breathe in. And out through your nose. Breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And thank you very much. This has been a long session today because I wanted to do the analogy as well as the pros and cons today. And thank you. Next week is the last week in August, and we'll be doing our monthly question and answer time. So thanks for tuning in with us, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 minutes at Dr. Zali's desk. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.